I have no idea why, but I'm getting some free links to Oprah show. And generally, if you want to find out a pile of bullshit, watch Oprah. So I popped in and I thought, Marie Osmond and her child that died, and let's see what kind of bullshit they're going to talk about. And this is a really, really painful thing to even be saying, because when we point out truths, we don't want to face them. It's really, really, really painful. And the last thing I'd want to do is, throw more pain on somebody that just lost their child. First of all, let me get that straight. But things like this happen in our universe, for a reason. And if we as society don't make any changes, then expect more of it. And I couldn't even watch the full show because it was so like, oh my God, are these people ever lost? And it's like, then you wonder why our children are trying to kill themselves. It's like totally detached from any sense of reality. And, the words that really are painful is, oh, I'll leave the answers up to God. It's like, why don't you want to find out the answers? Why is it that you can't solve the problems that you're dealing with, that when something this severe where your children died, don't you want to know the reasons why? Like, oh, I don't know the reasons, I'm just going to leave that up to God. The woulda, coulda, shouldas. Your intuition. Marie Osmond is talking about she had this motherly intuition. This is powerful shit, people. Our intuition is real, but it's being suppressed. And I don't care how friggin' wealthy you are. It seems the more wealthy you are, the more your intuition is completely gone at the risk of your kids' lives. Now, I was in this shoes, which brings me to want to even bring up this point, because I was in the position where I worried about my child and my child's depression. I knew the very causes of why something was going to drive my child to either do drugs or want to kill himself. And the way this woman is describing her child is that, okay, he didn't do good in school, but he got into an art school, and he's really compassionate and caring. And, he really had, this kid was brilliant, right brain thinker. He could see the world completely different than everybody else. He's seen all of the wrongs in the world, and that pain caused him a depression because nobody in his world wants to solve any of the problems. They're just so busy making money. Here's a kid that comes from a massive family yet was lonely. And this is a wealthy, massive family. Like, which one of them knew what he needed? The mother is describing, oh, you couldn't meet a better guy. He knew when the garbage needed to be taken out. He knew when, oh, don't do this to mom because mom needs this. This child obviously knew what would make everybody else happy, but not a single one person on the planet knew what made him happy. And then, the pain of recognizing, hey, all of these people that say they love me don't really, give a shit because of their actions, that anybody would deal with that level of pain and have to take drugs. And this woman is stuck on, oh no, the kid took drugs. Just out of the blue, kid just starts doing drugs. There's a cause why kids do drugs. And if you don't want to deal with that reason, you'll never figure out why your kids end up killing themselves. And it's like, don't believe in the answers up to God. And it's like, if you have to live in the woulda, shoulda, couldas, and those woulda, shoulda, couldas would make you stop living, maybe you should stop living. Or else change your actions. All of the woulda, coulda, shouldas are telling you what you should have done right. And, you live your life in your next moment making sure that there are no woulda, shoulda, couldas, and you're listening to your intuition, and you're jumping on that before you're jumping on your freaking paycheck. And I was in that boat, but I was making next to nothing, working 24/7 on very low wages, when my children needed me. But our court system, our judges, everybody in these systems says, no, leave your kid alone. You need to make a living. You know, so I really get offended when somebody says, oh, I got to work and support my kids. Yeah, look at how much wealth you have. You know, maybe you could do with a little bit of those nice clothes or those big cars or that secured area you need to live in, and, you know, say, not go to work so much so you can spend some time with your kids. You know, because they need the world changed, and you got a voice. Here's somebody that's really freaking famous that could kind of say, hey, people, we need to change our systems. You know, working and this hard, so, taking you away from your kids when they need you is wrong. Nobody should have to work that hard and abandon your children and let them try and find the wisdom to make better decisions. No child would take drugs if they had parents there teaching them how not to do drugs. But they're learned by example. And if your example is to block and deal problems, then the kid's going to learn how to block and deal problems. And if that means he's going to do it with drugs, well, he's doing the same thing you're doing, just with different curtains. You know, this thing with God, leave everything to God and put it in God's hands. You know, like, God ain't fixing shit. You know, it's got to be us, the people, that make some changes in our behaviors. Those woulda, coulda, shouldas, yeah, that's the causes. And if you deal with those woulda, coulda, shouldas, you know, get over your pain, like, forgive yourself. None of us know what the hell we're doing, but we got to wake up to it if we don't want this shit happening anymore. You know, and we've got to start talking about, you're on friggin' welfare. You could be, Oprah Winfrey show. You could have been telling the world, hey, we got to stop doing this. That making people work this hard is killing our children because they need our attention. And then take yourself out of your world and you start dealing with some people that are on a lower income bracket. You know, all these people that are losing their homes? Start talking about their kids, because, you know, don't make your kid just the only important thing, because your kid felt that pain. He's seen the bigger picture. When he felt pain, he's feeling the pain of everybody else's pain. He was well connected, but he didn't have the communication language for you to comprehend it because nobody was interested. You know, nobody could feel what was going on with this kid. Otherwise, they would have had the conversations. Just pisses me off that, you know, when bad things happen, we don't make a change. We just block and deal, and then the problem escalates. So the next generation is going to be even worse because this will be carried on genetically. So somebody else in their family is going to have the same experience because it's well trained. Believe in God and God will fix all the problems, you know, and we don't really have to be responsible or accountable for anything. And, you know, it's like, get rid of your friggin' religion and your friggin' books and start dealing with some problems, you know, and stop leaving it up for God to fix. You know, because you got to move on. Yeah, move on doing the same bad things you've done all along and not even recognize that you need to make a change. I know it's tough to